Right, everybody, welcome back to Lloyd Tries Cars. I'm Lloyd, and today I'm going to be talking about my Subaru Impreza Turbo 2000. Now, it's a little venture that I've done recently. I've always wanted to buy an Impreza. A family friend had this car for sale. I made him an offer, he accepted. Needed a bit of work, but I'm just going to talk you through my kind of ownership experience of a Subaru Impreza. It's a dream car for me. I've always wanted one, so we'll do a little walk around and I'll show you kind of how we've improved it and what's next for the car. Right, so it's a late car, so it's a last of the GC8 Imprezas, which is kind of like the classic Imprezas that we all know and love. It's a W reg on a 2000. It's 113,000 miles. It presents itself actually really nicely. So a few common issues with these cars: the rear arches rot. Not so on this one. They've been done before. They don't really need doing again. I think they were done a while ago, but the car's really solid. I've had rear dampers, had new rear dampers put on it because the old ones were shot, so I found that the strut tops on it was really, really good. So the car is actually quite solid, which is great to know. It's got a Prodrive pack on it. Now, Prodrive pack gave you an option for this larger rear spoiler. I think there was a map that you could specify from 208 brake horsepower to 237. So I think this has got the 237 from the way it goes. What else did you get? Short shifter, I think, and slightly different intercooler. But other than that, I'm sure someone on the internet will correct me, but I was 8 at the time when they came out, so I wasn't exactly reading the brochures. Or was I actually? I probably was, to be fair. So it's had a good full detail, although obviously I've been driving it. It's not mint right now because I've been driving it, obviously. And yeah, but it's had a nice paint correction, good detail. The paintwork's actually really nice on this car. It's actually really original, which is great. It's had all its wheels refurbished in the back in the past. It's found itself some budget tyres in the past, but I didn't quite realise how bad they were until I kind of leaned on them a little bit today. They're okay, but I think they squeal a bit and they haven't got the best grip in the world. So apologies for any future wheel kind of squeal, your tyre squeal you're going to hear in this video, so sorry. What else do we know? What else have I got? So I've actually put the original number plates back on the car, so shout out to Retro Plates. Mr. Cameraman, if you'll kindly follow me around here. If you look at this, so there's a great company on Instagram called Retro Plates. This had like a Shore Parts or like a, and there's nothing wrong with Shore Parts obviously, but this had like a General Motor Factors number plate on it. Now I got a proper number plate made because this car was supplied brand new from Simpsons. I've still got the booklet with the original PDI and everything in there, and this was supplied by Simpsons of Swindon, this car, brand new. And so what they'll do, there's a company called Retro Plates that will just make you a nice original number plate with the original font and all the right sizing and spacing and everything. Shout out to them, because it just, for me, puts the car right back in period, and I think it looked great. Right, under the engine, under the bonnet, whatever. So it's had a bit of a service. It's had a full service. It's had brand new HT leads. There was a slight hesitation when I bought the car. It was kind of ignition or fuel pump related, but we've stuck some HT leads on it, done a full service. That's really improved it. It's had a new fuel pump as well, and that's kind of solved the issue. So I think the car's done something like 3,000 miles in about 5 or 6 years. Cars don't like being sat around. Guys, use your cars. Never let them sit around. So yeah, so we've done a good service, given the engine a bit of attention, and she absolutely flies along now. She drives really, really well. So couple of bits and pieces still left to do. It probably wants a cam belt in the next few years, but to be honest, on a Subaru, that's no great shape at all. Now, what else have we got? Interior wise, if you'll follow me around here, interior, Subarus aren't really known for their dynamic interiors. It's a real bland place to be, but you know, cheap plastics, bits and pieces like that. But it's held up okay. I mean, the steering wheel's got a bit of wear and tear on it, but we'll show you around that in a second. So other little bits and pieces that I've done to kind of tidy it up a bit. I'm a sucker for detail, so again, I've gone Retro Plates with the correctly sort of oversized rear number plate with the correct font on the back. Sucker for that kind of stuff. It's got a Graham Good Racing exhaust on the back, which is the only aftermarket feature on this car. It's a really, really nice sound that it makes. It's not too loud, not intrusive, it's not quiet. It's got a nice kind of burble. It's really, really nice actually. I've also little things like this, little details, like I've got this, I'll put the original Impreza sticker back on there. If you come and see that, you'll see it's the correct font, it's the correct size. Just little details like that that just make all the difference. So yeah, and also it also matches this. I know the car's not been in any major shunts. It's certainly not been on its roof because it's got the original Simpsons for Subaru sticker in the rear windscreen. So yeah, we like a bit of that. But outside wise, bodywork's really clean, really nice. Mechanically, absolutely top notch. Let's show you the interior. Right, the interior. So she's not bad in here actually. A bit of wear on the gear knob and on the steering wheel. This steering wheel is absolutely massive, by the way. What were they thinking? It's like steering a ship. So I think if I was going to keep this any longer, I'd probably have to have this off and have a slightly smaller steering wheel. But it does its job. It feels fairly good in your hands, but it has worn a little bit on top. It's got an Elvis Presley CD stuck in the CD player. I can only seem to get Radio 4 or Radio West Midlands. So I think that's kind of, that's another job for a future owner. I think you probably want to get a new CD player. Nothing wrong with Elvis Presley though, obviously. But no, she stood the test of time really well. Subarus, they just make good, strong cars. I've got my service book at home, to be fair, so I won't show you that. But everything works well. It's got, all the switch gears are fine. Everything just nice and tidy for 113,000 miles and 24 years old. So really good condition wise. Let's see what it's like to drive, and join me in the passenger seat in just a moment. Okay, so driving experience of this car. First things first, you notice a very large steering wheel in front of you. There is no lie that the big Momo is a large device to pilot the car, but it's a very nice thing actually. It quality feel. It's worn away a little bit on this example, but it is what it is. It's fine. It's 20 years old. It doesn't really matter, does it? So quick stab of power, really nice, kind of really linear actually. There's not that much lag. Because it doesn't really weigh that much. The thing that you notice straight away about this car is the lack of weight, the lack of mass. There's really kind of no inertia. It's that kind of, it's just that lightweight car feel compared to every other car. I mean, you notice so much vision. There's so much glass. You've got so much, so much vision looking out from where I'm sat. No massive A-posts just obstructing views. It's brilliant. And you've got that bonnet bulge in front of you that just reminds you of what you're driving. It is iconic. I know it's a typical word, I don't like using it, but few cars are iconic and this is one of them. Initial things that I am kind of finding as well is I'm having to choose between being outrageously hot in here or cool, but even then I'm not that cool because I can't have the windows down because you won't hear me, of course. And if I want the heater on full blast, the cooling on full blast, because no aircon in this car. If you want to be cold, you probably won't hear me either. Because it's a bit loud. That's a bit loud. Is that loud? Can you hear me? I wish you could, because I'd love to have it on, but I'm not going to risk the sound quality. Anyway, as we were saying, really good amount of performance. There's, we're up to 60 mile an hour. There's no need to really go a lot quicker, but I'm just feeding into this sequence of ends. It's fantastic. It really is. Straight away, you just notice that really nice ride quality that comes with when you press on the completely standard suspension, springs, tyres, everything's all completely standard in this car, and it just rides the bends really nicely. There's no kind of upset feel. It doesn't bounce down the road. It's not unpleasant. We are going to just head for the fuel station actually. I've taken a bit of a wrong turn. I thought I was going to my usual test route, but a bit of rallying there. I was going to go to my usual test route, but let's get some petrol in at first. But it means that we can go back through this nice little sequence of bends and just tip it in left. Really nice, really communicative. There is a bit of steering input required because of the size of the steering wheel, but it tells you a really nice story. And gearbox is a joy to use, really precise. Nice kind of shotgun rifle style, but again, just kind of thinking my way through these bends really well. The ride quality is the thing that I'm really surprised with. It handles really well. Small amount of body roll, nothing major. Just through that little bend there, sequence of bends. Over the roundabout. God, this is a proper car to fire across a roundabout, isn't it? It really is. It loves it. Well, very revvy engine this thing actually, you don't realise it. You don't realise how revvy Imprezas are until you drive one.
They're not good. They're not good. But it does mean it moves around a bit on roundabouts, and it's quite funny. But yeah, it's probably doing the handling a slight disservice because of its Toledos. Oh dearie me. It's funny. It just simulates being on gravel really, I suppose, doesn't it? Chuck it in. Kias. Obstructing my path. There we go. Away we go off the roundabout. And quick gear change into third. You don't really need to use all the revs in Impreza. It picks up plenty of pace up to about 5.5. I mean, you can take it all the way up to 7.5 if you want to. But two factors: mechanical sympathy, and the other one is you just don't really need to. That's the other thing with this engine. But it's a nice thing to just kind of just row the gears in and pick up speed. I mean, in fifth gear, I'm just sort of touching the throttle pedal. It's just taken me from 60 to 80 quite quickly. It's yeah, it's pretty quick actually, considering its age. But I can see why so many of these cars got stolen, because back in the 90s, this would have been so much faster than anything kind of police car or anything like that. You know, it really is a quick car for its age. Grip in a normal Impreza with normal tyres on it, but yeah, unfortunately these I have got some cheap tyres on this which I've inherited, which are not the ones, as I keep mentioning. So tyres, people, the most important modification you can make to a car: good quality tyres. Do it. Budget tyres should be banned. Room 101, banned from the face of the earth. Get good quality tyres, don't be cheap. Tyres, brakes, do not skimp on that kind of stuff, as you can see perfectly from the awful tyre squeal that just came out of this vehicle, which looked and probably sounded terrible. This will have, I'm sure this has a lot more grip with proper tyres on it. Anyway, rant over. Through this nice flowing section here. Take third, again, just tickle it through, left, right, loads of aggression on the steering, really nice. You can really trust it, you can chuck it in, the chassis is really, really good, it'll take it, not too much body roll. It's very, very easy to kind of predict what it's going to do. I mean, that is just the Impreza way, isn't it? And just security in numbers. I mean, the steering wheel is massive. It has to be said, the steering wheel is something that I think, if you're going to keep the car long term, it would have to come off. The steering is really, really nice, but these tyres are squealing their life out. They're just a bit cheap and old, these tyres, unfortunately. But third gear, just a little dab of the brakes through this narrow section. I'm not going to go too mad, obviously, but we're going to just put right there. The brake's nice, just going to nice, slow in, fast out. Tyre squeal, I'm so sorry, it's terrible. I'm not even going that quick. Foot on the brake, the left hander. Land Rover, whilst it's on the road. So yeah, through the twistier stuff, it's nice. I think, unfortunately, this car is probably hampered by its tyres in terms of grip. I don't think the grip is the best in the world on this one because of these cheaper tyres. But hey, the rest of the car's great, obviously. But as I've said before, and I'll say it again, never ever cut corners on tyres. Cheap tyres are the enemy of the motor trade. You can ruin a car's handling and dynamics with a set of cheap tyres. You really can. It should be banned. I understand people have to work on a budget, but I'm sorry, but if you can't afford good tyres, you shouldn't have a car. Especially not a car worth driving anyway. Right, second gear pull. Will we get to 60 before we get to that first tree? Second gear. bends, it really, really does. Down into third. The gearbox is a joy to use, very mechanical feeling. Yeah, really, really nice through there. Everything feels kind of light as well. Like it doesn't feel like it's lacking in feel, but it feels light. It doesn't feel like it's got massive weight to it, you know? It doesn't feel like it's got massive, massive weight. Impreza feeling. It does feel like it's got an almost unbreakable character. And back to that word character, there's a lot of personality with this car. It really does make you feel, release you're in a Colin McRae or similar, if you've got a favourite driver from the era. We can talk about Piero Liatti. We can talk about who else was a driver? Carlos Sainz, obviously. Factory Impreza driver. Bertie Fischer, if you really want to be anal about things. But yeah, it does release that inner rally driver spirit to you. There's no denying. It does feel solid, this car. There's absolutely no denying. It feels very, very solid. Gear change is magnificent. Gearbox on these ones, mega. It's got such a nice kind of placeability on the road, if that's such a word. You know, you can really, really just turn it exactly where you want to. The car goes exactly where you put it. Second gear for this tight left-hander. Careful, because people like to go cycling and walking on the wrong side of the road at this time of day. Back into second again. Ordinarily I wouldn't grab the top part of the steering wheel to pull it down because it's such a large steering wheel. I'm doing so. It's not got so much power that it doesn't force you up the road in a kind of, oh god, what am I going to do now, what do I do next, you know, you haven't got too much to do. It's really, really easy. There's not that much to do in terms of you know, you never panic, you never feel like you panic in this car. When you go too quick you feel like, oh god, what, you know, it's got so much to think about. There isn't really anything to think about. It is such an easy car to drive quickly. It really is quite amazing. I'm very, very impressed. So interestingly, a lot of people say that Imprezas aren't that refined, they're quite agricultural things. Well, mechanically, possibly yes, but I find it actually to be quite the opposite. I think it's really quite refined in some ways. I think to drive it's perfectly comfortable. I could do long distance in this car, no problem at all. And yeah, I just think, yeah, obviously I think the quicker that you go in this car, the more the chassis comes to you, the more the car comes to you. It does like taking a bit of abuse, which is why I can imagine there's so many knackered ones out there, because they do like being thrashed. But let's just try it. Second gear, let's do a little second gear pull, out the 30, see how quickly we get to the 60. Now this speedo is slightly out, but it doesn't take much to get to your speed limit. Down into third, we're going to just tip it in, take a little bit of the inside there. I don't think the Toledo tyres are going to be helping much with it. On the brakes again, probably leave it in third actually. We'll just stroke it through here. Beautiful through there, really intuitive. The car feels small on the road. Chucking it, yeah, Toledos aren't the best. It can't be said that they're any good, unfortunately. We're on the brakes again, we're going to just tip them in again. It's a lot of tyre squeal, it's not really doing justice to how quick I'm going. Second here, it does wash a little bit wide, so yeah, there is a little bit of that Impreza understeer that you do hear of. It does make a little bit of sense to me. Oh my god, the tyre squeal is bad. Not even going that quick. Sorry to local residents for that. Embarrassing display of tyre squeal. So how does it feel? Does it feel robust? Are there any knocks, any rattles? Well actually, no, to be honest. As I mentioned, that we've done those few bits and pieces to the car, and it's really, really kind of straightened it out. I mean, it drives with so much refinement considering its age. I mean, you just jump in it, you look at it, you think, God, that's going to drive like a bag of nails, isn't it? It's such an old Japanese car, but it'll probably drive nice and tight, but it'll probably rattle around, and don't get me wrong, there are some cheap, nasty plastics in it. I mean, the interior is not the Impreza's strong point, but she's tight, she drives nice, feels good, handles well, seats comfortable, nothing really rattles or knocks. It's good. Everything changes gear nicely. There's nothing to really complain about. It's a really, really good, solid car. So really impressed with it. Really, really been impressed with this car. It just wants to go all the time. It just wants to go. It feels like it's never really off the boil. I mean, you can stick it into fifth and come off the turbo, but even then, it's kind of, you still got that Impreza noise in the background burbling away, and you just want to just drop it a couple of gears and just go. That's the thing with this thing. It just puts a smile on my face so much. It really, really does. And this is a basic. This is a Turbo 2000. This is meant to be like the slow one. I say the slow one, you know, but you know what I mean. This is the basic entry level Impreza Turbo. So good. I mean, I know this has got a Prodrive pack on it. I do think that this has got a bit more power. I wouldn't be surprised if it had got the 237 performance pack on it. But let's go again. Third, beautiful gear change. Fourth, I don't need to take fifth. I'll just sit it in fourth. It's got quite nice tall gear ratio, so I'll sit it in fourth. Down the brakes are good, considering their age. They're really, really good, strong, firm feeling pedal. So turning it into this little left-hander here, I'm going to go flat out over this bump, see if I catch a bit of air. A little bit. It just settles down so nicely. And go back on the brakes. I mean, quick stopping. I think the brakes get hot quite quick on a standard UK 2000. So I think you're probably going to want to upgrade brakes if you're going to do track days or any quick driving in them. But it's so easy to do the speed. It's so easy to go quick in this Impreza. It's like I mean, you can see where the Golf are and the A45 MGs and everything. I mean, you can see why they get stolen, because you can just drive them so quickly without even having to think about it. That's just the four-wheel drive performance car way, I suppose. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. Really impressed. Such a good car. 113,000 miles. You would never ever know.
So, probably my last drive in this Impreza. It is now sold. I just wanted to document this in a video before I got rid of it, because it's such a special car to me, the Impreza. My dad had one back in 1997, as I mentioned, and the Colin McRae era for me was everything. Colin McRae games, everything. World Rally Championship is my world. I absolutely adore it. So to own an Impreza and tick that box has been absolutely incredible for me. I've given this car a little bit more love. Put my own little bit of money into it, made it better for the next owner. I'm sure the next owner will make it even better for them. I'm going to really miss it, but it's not the only Impreza in the world. I will get another one. I'm quite fancy a 2003, maybe a WRX STI, something like that. Blue with the gold wheels again. Love that. But yeah, W698 RMW. It's been a great few months of ownership, and I totally get the Impreza thing. I've always wanted to meet my hero, and it hasn't disappointed me. So thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe and comment. I am into all sorts of bits and pieces. I'm not all about the supercars and the latest expensive thing. I like classics. I've got knowledge on my older stuff. I like to review the older stuff. Say review, I just like to experience it and tick the boxes. As you know, I'm doing this Evo magazine top 100 drivers list. Now, there is an RB5 Impreza on that list, which is the Richard Burns special edition, but we'll get onto that later. This is just a humble turbo 2000 with a Prodrive pack. So not the car I'm going to use to just, to tick the box on that list. But again, really enjoyed this. But if you're into weird, wonderful stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, hopefully you join me for the next video. Thank you very much for watching.